In the words of Lee Scratch Perry, Chrissa Blackwell is a vampire. The whole room is full of freaks. Have you been to the toilet? On a good night, misfits, malcontents, second story men, visionaries, pirates. On a bad night, it's just the music business. On a good night, like tonight, it's like a kind of outpatient facility. Look at yourselves. God makes music out of his mistakes. I know, I'm one of them. I'm not just talking about myself, though. Steven Tyler, Michael Jackson, Keith Richards, but more importantly, you guys with the wallets and SoundScan, you're the real freaks. Really. Now, I know some of you think you could run Coca-Cola, don't you? You couldn't. You couldn't. The best of you couldn't. Chris Blackwell couldn't. It's not banking. And even if it was, the best of you couldn't run a bank. You could rob a bank. You couldn't run a bank. For some, music is an excuse to make money. For the best, money is an excuse to make music. First time I saw Chris Blackwell, I was 18 years old. You two were playing in a pub in South London. I knew that he was unemployable. It was the height of punk rock. He was wearing flip-flops. This was not very punk rock. Or Coca-Cola, actually. Now, there's something about Chris Blackwell. Some of you, when you see how the trick is done, you lose interest. Some of you, when you see how when you see the wires, you get interested. These people we call magicians. Chris Blackwell is a magician. And music is much more than magic. It's much more than numbers. When you hear Bob Marley sing, you bend your knees. It's not even Bob, it's like the voice is singing him. It's a religious experience. Yes, and there's light in those songs. Maybe it's Jamaica, maybe it's Jah, but it's magic. It's not mathematics. Mind you, he did sell Polygram for $300 million. Who then sold to Vivendi, who then sold to Seagram's, who then sold to Vivendi. And you think of all the Frenchmen when they get the package and they're opening the box, and then they're opening another little box, and they're opening another box, and another box, and they get to the box called Island Records, and they open it up. No Chris Blackwell? See, that's what I call magic. Magic. He's a magic man. Now, to people tuning into VH1 who are still asking the question, who is Chris Blackwell? Well, let me tell you, if you've heard Gimme Some Lovin', or Baby, Baby, It's a Wild World, or The Harder They Come, well, you've met him. You heard We're the Streets of No Name, or Love is the Drug, or My Boy Lollipop. Well, you know Chris Blackwell. I know some of you are thinking, but he doesn't play, he doesn't sing, he doesn't write. He's just in the room when the magic happens. But when you're in the room 10, 20, 30 times and the magic has happened, you start to wonder, is it him? Is it you? I've had that thought. It's bigger than that, though. CB's genius is knowing that the magic man, the music man, There used to be a lot of them out there, like Chris Blackwell, like Ahmed Ertegun, like Berry Gordy, like Mo Austin, you know? A new crew, like Jimmy Iovine, and all those other loose cannons that the multinational corporations have such trouble fitting into their business plans. But rock and roll would have stayed in the fields of Tennessee, in the pubs of Richmond, and the whorehouses of New Orleans, the ghettos of Jamaica, if it wasn't for Chris Blackwell. If it wasn't for Chris Blackwell, none of us would be eating fancy dinners and dressing up in expensive clothes or taking limousines to the Waldorf to sit at $25,000 tables. Thank you, Chris. Who is he? He's the reason I'm here. But you know what? 10 or 12 madmen like Chris Blackwell are the reason we're all here. And if we want to stay here, we better remember that. Chris Blackwell, Mr. Blackwell, we would like to induct you to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You deserve it because you built it. Thank you.